Today, I am sharing a little behind the scenes look at my cashew sour cream prep. This is day 2 of the process, so if you're following, we're right in the middle of it. I started this 3-day fermentation journey by soaking my raw cashews overnight, which happened in day 1, and I didn't record that part, but it's really simple. Just soak them in water overnight and they'll get nice and soft, which is perfect for blending. Now for today, day 2, I'm skipping straight to blending because the soaking part is already done. It's really just soaked cashews, probiotics, and water. No seasoning, no salt, just simple and plain. You can use any probiotic that opens up easily. I'm using 2 capsules for about 14 ounces of soaked cashews. The powder from those capsules is going to blend right into the cashews and create the perfect environment for natural fermentation. After blending, I'll pour the mixture into a large bowl, cover it with a breathable cloth, and leave it at room temperature to ferment. It's a simple but magical process, no complicated steps, just real food transforming itself into something creamy and tangy. I'll be including the exact recipe in the description below, so make sure you check it out. But that's it for today, day 2 of my cashew sour cream journey. Tomorrow, the fermentation process should be complete to move on to the next steps. I'm so excited. We're not done fermenting. For this homemade winery, I'm using fresh apples, oranges, and ginger. Not only is this going to be the juice that ferments into something bubbly, but I'm also using chopped oranges, apples, and ginger to assist in the fermentation process. This whole process is just a 48-hour fermentation. That means everything I'm prepping, the cashew sour cream, this fermented juice, and the final dishes for my what I eat in this video will all come together perfectly. Today is day 3 of the fermentation process, and I'm excited to check in on my cashew sour cream. I usually can tell if it's fermented properly just by looking at the texture and color. To be honest, I've been doing this for so long now, it's like second nature to me. Typically, I look for a slightly brown topping and a fluffy, smooth texture. Of course, I always do a quick taste test before adding anything because that's important. It's super plain, but you can still pick up on that fresh fermented flavor that tells you it's ready. I do have a tip though. I highly recommend using a whisk when stirring your fermented cashew cream instead of a spoon. It gives a better blend and creates a nice even finish, especially when you're adding in your toppings. Speaking of toppings though, this sour cream already has a ton of flavor from the fermentation process. All you need to add is fresh chopped onions, chives, or dill like I'm using today, and sea salt. The sea salt is totally optional though, but I'll be honest with you. Adding just a little really brings the flavors to life. It gives it that final stamp and it tastes exactly like regular dairy sour cream, but healthier and way better. I'll be putting this in the fridge to chill and to also stop the fermentation process, which is important. This recipe we're getting into brings back so many childhood memories. My stuffed peppers are inspired by the soft tacos I used to eat growing up. Back then, I load up my soft tacos and add in my sour cream because it was so freaking good. Honestly, I would put sour cream on everything. It didn't matter what it was. Pizza, Alfredo, whatever. That creamy, tangy flavor was my favorite part. So I thought, why not recreate those flavors in a healthier, raw way? If there's anything I can do to add a little twist to my favorite foods, I will. These stuffed peppers are my twist to soft tacos. I decided to use walnut crumbles to add a little bit more flavor. This is actually my first time creating it with walnuts though. It turned out pretty good. I layered it with lettuce, juicy tomatoes, creamy avocado, diced onions, and my homemade fermented cashew sour cream. I also added on a drizzle of spicy olive oil. I don't know if you guys are into that, but I love it. It's all in the goodness of a taco, even with the pepper. And here's a little secret. After eating the filling, I love cutting up the pepper and dipping it in sour cream. It's so freaking good. This proves that you can still enjoy the foods that you grew up on, just in a way that's better for you and still incredibly satisfying. Okay, so my juice has been sitting for 48 hours now, and now it's time to drain it. I know when it's ready because of the little sizzling sound from the bottle. When I was taking the lid off, it fizzed like crazy. I did not want it to explode in my face, especially considering my history with that. If you know, then you know. Also, I usually toss the fruit in the trash. I do not save it for later for those who are wondering. I then pour my juice in a new jar to place it in the fridge. Just so you know, cooling it halts the fermentation process, which preserves the flavor at its peak. If left at room temperature, the fermentation would continue, leading to a more vinegary taste over time, which is so nasty to me. I made this with 2 different juice combinations, and to my surprise, the green juice turned out to be the star. The flavor was on point, so I'm definitely considering doing a separate video to dive deeper into the juice fermentation. If you're interested, drop a comment. For those who are unfamiliar with this process, fermentation is like nature's way of transforming sugars in foods like fruits and vegetables into new flavors and textures. It's the process that gives us foods like wine and yogurt. That bubbling or fizzing you notice in the juice is carbon dioxide being released as microorganisms do its thing. It's a sign that fermentation is active and on the right track. The longer you let something ferment, the more the flavors develop. That's key. People have been fermenting foods for thousands of years as a way to preserve them and enhance their flavors. It's a time-tested method that's still popular today. Just finished up with my stuffed peppers, and I have to say they were fulfilling and worth the wait. There's something about preparing a meal from scratch that really hits the spot. Now, moving on with my evening snack, I'll be indulging in a bowl of ice cream. It's a simple sweet treat that never disappoints. To be honest, I hopped off the porch with this one. As soon as I decided to go raw, I was eating ice cream like every other day. I don't recommend it because everything should be eaten in moderation, but it's just a good memory of how it all started. I'll also be enjoying my golden latte made with homemade pistachio milk. I chose pistachios for their rich flavor, and there's no other nut competing with pistachios when it comes to natural flavors. Let's argue. I also added a couple of teaspoons of turmeric powder to my cup of room temperature milk, and it was on point as always. Imagine having something so tasty that has so many health benefits. Sometimes it's essential to pause and just consider what truly brings us joy and nourishment. In today's fast-paced world, taking the time to prepare meals and drinks that supports our well-being is a form of self-care. Investing in our health isn't just about eating right. It's about creating rituals that nourish both the body and soul. So make sure you find what works for you and make choices that uplift and sustain you. So, I ate a few more snacks after this, but you get the picture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one.